Recording. All right, gentlemen. Good evening. My name is Rene Ornelas. I'll be your mediator for today. I've been appointed to your case by the mediators at hand. Commend you both for being here, Tom and John, for agreeing to participate in the mediation process. I assume by virtue of you being here, you are committed to attempting to make this process work and attempt to reach a resolution for your dispute. This means that you will respect each other and remain as professional as possible while speaking to each other or addressing each other. Refrain from interrupting each other because this is your time you have paid for and we should not waste it. That being said, we have received your payments and we have allotted for 2 hours of mediation. Moving on, let me say that I have no connection with this case. I know nothing about it, other than the materials that have been submitted by both of you. I have not met either one of you before, and I do not have any relationship with any of the parties involved in this case. And thus, I have no opinion or preconceived ideas about the nature of your dispute or how it should be resolved. Also, let me explain to you a little bit about the mediation process, since this will be your first time. I am not a judge or a decision maker. My job is to facilitate communication between the both of you with the hopes that will enable the parties, each one of you, to reach a settlement. The settlement between both parties that you have agreed to independently and with each other. My job will simply be to probe and ask questions and an attempt for each of you to reevaluate your positions and reevaluate what the opponent's or the other person's position is. The mediation process is confidential, and I will do everything in my power to assure you that it remains confidential. Nothing will leave this room on my behalf, and the same is expected from all parties present today. Unless agreed upon earlier, any notes that I have taken or anything else are to be shredded before we leave. When I get through making my remarks, I will be calling on each one of you to make an opening statement. I will call on the claimant first because that person initiated the case or asked for mediation. An opening statement is simply to state what your client's thoughts are, or in this case, what your position is, what the history of the dispute is, what relief or resolution you think is appropriate, and anything you wish to add to shed light on the dispute. After each of you makes your opening statement, we will then remain together for what I call a joint session. And throughout the joint session, if needed, I may ask one of you to step outside privately to meet with, which is called a caucus. After meeting with you, during that meeting, that is private. Anything you can tell me that is pertaining to the case will be private between me and each one of you. If later on during the session I feel like it may help to disclose it, I will ask your permission to disclose that information to maybe help move the case along. Our goal today is to seek complete resolution of this dispute. I again commend you both for committing to the process and being here today. Does anybody have any questions?
No, let's just do it.
All right. Then before we begin the opening statement, just let me clarify that each one of you does have authority to settle this case. You do not have an attorney present. You have come to the mediation process with that authority to settle. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, thank you. And there's a confidentiality form that will be signed before leaving this room, and also hopefully an agreement that I will type out after. All right, John, since you asked for this mediation, please, could you start?
Okay, well, to make a long story short, I'm driving my wife's car, and there are a lot of cars out on